Hello, everyone. So, welcome to our episode 4 of our Change Management in 20 Minutes podcast. Together, Jaren and myself are going to discuss some very interesting topic, which is kind of utmost importance for any change management project. So, Jaren, how is your summer? Is it hot
I'm-
over there in Turkey?
Yes, I mean, it was a little bit cooler, but it's getting hot again. Like there were some different heat waves coming and going through the country. So right now it's starting to get hotter again. But it was cool.
Oh, happy you are, because here in Kazakhstan, the summer is going to its end, but again, depends on the region. The
Oh,
south are enjoying sunbathing, while we are in the center, a little bit getting closer to the autumn.
oh,
So,
I see.
anyway, it's very nice to see you today. Yeah.
Nice to see you.
And yep. So, today, we are going to dive into such an important topic as change communication. So, together with Jaren, we are going to discuss how to do that effectively.
Mhm.
And here we are.
Yep. So yeah, great. I mean, yes, the change communication is the most important thing, and it should be planned earlier. Like even when the first time you decide to have a change, either it's a small one or a big one, you should prepare for the communication, how to communicate it, how to do the kickoff. So let's start with the first question, Yulia. So what are the key factors for a successful change communication?
Oh, key factors. That's from one side, it's not a lot, but from the other side, it takes a lot to provide those key success factors, right? So, to me, it seems that one of the first probably important things is, of course, that message that we provide about the change and the change process should be clear and easy to understood. So, when I say that, I think that it's all about the demographics of our audience who will be receiving the messages. This means that we should really target and adapt each message that we are sending, notwithstanding the format of the sending. It can be verbal or it can be written form. So each message should be really targeted and adapted to the audience that it is being sent to. So, yeah, clarity, easiness to understand, adaptation to the audience who are the receivers, and probably frequency. All the messages should be regular so that people do not forget what's going on in the company. And also, I think the messaging should be consistent. So the strategy should be unified. You already have spoken about the importance of the planning and the strategy. So I think this is a very important thing to keep it consistent, to follow the strategy. And this is how we will make the audience really believe us as
Mhm.
senders and also reduce the resistance to change. So, by the way, Jiren, have you had any real life practices or life hacks or maybe cases that you can share about some successful change communication or maybe unsuccessful, depending what you have in your pocket?
I mean, the first rule for me is like no communication is worse than communicating the bad news. Like I'm writing it everywhere, and it's the first rule. Like without telling anything and leaving everything to people's assumptions, while something is going on in the company and people gossiping about it, and then they are building up their own reality, then it will suck. I mean, you will not be able to have a proper change uh, initiative at all. It will fail, and you will see it, and there won't be anything you can do about it. So it's like giving the right information, as you said, to the right people and have the communication tailor-made is the key. For example, just remember, it doesn't have to be a corporate example. You are going to a doctor's appointment, and then he or she is telling you what you have, but they are using extreme medical terms that you would never be understanding what's going on with yourself. And then you will feel something is not right with me. This guy knows what he is talking about, but I don't know. And definitely I'm going to die. You would never understand. Maybe it can be a simple flu, but if they are using the jargon, medical jargon that you don't understand, then you will just feel anxious about it. It's the same when you are communicating any news, so any type of change initiative, any type of audience, you need to have free of jargons, not too technical information. Be clear, be open, use simple words, and make sure everyone understands what you are talking about. And if not, just ask them, did you understand? If not, then repeat it with simple words. That's my key, I can say. What about you? Do you have any
Well, I
examples?
guess. Yeah, definitely. Probably I have more unsuccessful examples rather than successful, but I will be happy to share a couple of them. So first of all, what I have noticed in my practice as a consultant, one needs to adapt the language, just as you say, to the audience. For example, if you work for a company that is industrial, right? For example, industrial manufacturing, this is one type of language. And you have to use probably the simplest thing you can, draw to the message. But at the same time, if you are working, if you work for a company that, for example, works in a educational sphere or research, so these people are they are more used to different kind of complicated terminology. Maybe the complicated terminology is even more understandable for them because they are people from science. So this is what I noticed, that definitely we have to consider the specific industry of the organization. And I can also probably talk about the importance of is detailed crafting of the message, because the more effectively the message is crafted, especially, for example, from a top manager of the company who announces the change, the better it is. Because we got some example from our practice when the top manager was announcing the project management implementation system, and together with this implementation, the project also had contained some aspect related to people's salaries that would further be actually tied up to the project performance. Before that, company didn't have any project-related performance salaries or bonuses. Now they were going to introduce that, but unfortunately, the top manager, when announcing this change, did not mention the part about bonuses being tied up to the performance. So it was quite short, and probably they did not finish the sentence in a good way, and people thought that, okay, we are getting deprived of any bonuses we might have. And this, of course, caused a little bit of tension, I would say a lot of tension actually, and resistance, and also a lot of worries around people. So then the way they behaved, the top management again repeatedly conducted a town hall where they collected all the people together and explained that now your bonuses will be not like that as usual without any performance relation, but now it will be all related to the performance. So very interesting example, because salaries really worries us most of all, right?
Yeah, I mean, the common saying we have between my friends is like, we are not working as a hobby, like we are working for money. So of course, everyone who will be affected, like their salary affected and or promotion affected, will be disturbed, and they will feel anxious about the change, and any change that should be made on their like performances, it should be announced properly with right communication and with right words. So, yeah, excellent point. So, when you were talking about this, I just thought there is something called what's in it for me, WIIFM perspective. So, what's in it for me is crucial for the messages. And in your example, it should be given more, maybe. So, what do you think? How should we frame these messages to make sure people understand the benefits of change for themselves, not for the company?
Well, this is actually a very important concept that you are raising, Jaren. So, what is in it for me? I think is the core concept of any change management, because, as you say, people work not as hobby but for money. And I would also add to this that we do something because this is us who want to do this. We don't like being told what to do, and we don't like being pressed to do something. But if we find something that really touches our personal values in life, our personal life level of life, I would even say, then of course it would be probably more interesting for us. So talking about what is in it for me concept. Yeah, any change should be tied up to something personal because all the changes start from people. So to target those two personal values of people, of course, we need to incorporate into our messaging the way how the exact person's life will be impacted. For example, it can be their salaries, it can be their physical location where they are employed, for example, or it can be simplification of their work procedures. So in messaging, it's very important to clarify for the audience that they will have some personal advantage after this change. We don't really maybe sympathize with companies getting easier procedures, but we will definitely like the idea that our personal work procedures will be easier because for us, it will be easier to work. And who doesn't dream about that, right? Easy work, easy money. Yeah, so I think I think you really are raising a very important concept, Joran, that we need to make sure that the messaging really touches our individual needs as employees and our individual aspirations. So in this way, the resistance will be, of course, much lower, and probably we will get more enthusiasts, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like people will be involved to the change because they will think that there is something important for them in it. They will benefit from it. They will see the benefits so that the change will be smoother. There won't be 0% resistance. For sure, there will be some, but at least not many people will be resisting at the end. So yeah, so when we move on to the communication barriers and think of the common barriers that we are facing during change communication process, could you name some of them and how we can overcome them?
Oh, as a practitioner, I meet them every day. I face them every day, sometimes every minute. So yeah, if we're talking about these communication barriers, first of all, they are quite, I would say, organizational wise, they are quite natural, but we have to work with them to decrease them. I would include here lack of information overall, maybe some misunderstandings, for example, in the example that I have been providing lately, and also some trust issues might arise. So we do have some tools how to work with that. First of all, we need to be transparent and provide regular updates that also would include all the necessary information so that the messages are thoroughly crafted so that they are targeted to the demographics of the audience, right? And also we really need to probably provide a lot of room for feedback. So when I say a room for feedback, I mean probably we need to listen a lot to what employees are saying. So the communications should not be only push communications, but also kind of interactive. Because these are employees who have to work with the new processes, right? They might have their concerns, and we need to listen to their concerns, and of course offer some solutions that can help make their life easier. So apart from that, I would also add maybe the importance of the right channels for communicating the messages. If we are talking about changing something in a plant, then this plant can be located somewhere very far away from the city where we don't have any internet resources. People just work on site. Probably maybe physical signs, posts can be there located somewhere on the blackboard or whiteboard so that they have this communication radiators, I would say, physically, right? But at the same time, if we know that our people are more communicative in some instant messengers, and this is what they check most of the time. Probably instant messengers can be a good channel.
Yeah.
So upon that, I would also like to highlight the importance probably of balancing transparency and fullness of communication with confidentiality and also probably some ethics. So, Jiren, here I have a question to you as a practitioner. How do you manage to balance those two, like transparency and fullness of information, but at the same time, minding the confidentiality gaps and ethics aspects in the communication?
This is a good question, and I will start with one of the sentences my change management, a colleague of mine, a change manager, told me once when we were talking about transparency, and he said, "Hey, being transparent about what will be confidential is the key. So you will tell people transparently that there will be some information that will be confidential and it should not be leaked anywhere, because sometimes
I like
when
that
you
one.
yeah,
Amazing.
yeah, that's a very nice that's a very nice word. I that sentence, and I think it did, like, I mean, it has an impact on what you are doing, and you will tell it, like you will say, hey, this sort of information will be confidential, but I am openly and transparently going to share with you the rest of it. These will stay confidential, these will be open. So sometimes, because changes are made on, or decided, let's say, not made, on the very top management level. Sometimes even CEO is working with a consultation company like yours, for example, and they are getting some information from them, some like how they are going to navigate through the change, some plans. So CEO, even a CEO, should be very careful while he is conveying the message to his direct management team. And then when you are communicating, you need to have clear guidelines, definitely. You need to have some basic information that should be shared to everyone, but the rest can be confidential. And then you need to have, as you said, communication channels are important. If the messages are like confidential and company specific, and then you need to have secure communication channels, so to say. This is what I think about it. Like, and of course, always be transparent about what you are keeping confidential is important. Yeah,
I like
like
that one.
I don't have anything on my mind about this topic. So let me think. Yeah, I think it's pretty much all I can say. So, yeah, then finally, the last question. So, what is the role of social media or digital tools when you are doing change communication? Because the world is changing rapidly, you know, AI and everything is out there. And how can we use them effectively to build nice change communication plans and like visuals and motivational words to use them?
Oh my God, you are just reading my mind, Jiren. This is what I wanted to say, that our world is so actively moving towards different kind of interactive communication. So I think interactivity is our everything right now, especially if we think about this difference in generations. For example, Zoomers, they like different kind of gamification exercises. They like being actively involved. So overall, I would say digital tools are must when using it for communications. Apart from that, I think we need to consider also the specifics of some organization where we are executing the change management. Maybe if emails are widely used in this company, no problem, we will be using emails. But we can also add up some AI content, definitely, if this does not violate the policy of the company. We can also add up digital tools, for example, Slack as a communication platform. I personally very much like this Slack. Also, I like Microsoft Teams as a communication for Teams. And of course, our good old WhatsApp, but sometimes, yeah, not all the teams can use WhatsApp due to confidentiality of the information in the company, but still. for some teams, this does work.
Yeah.
So I have a recent example how one of my clients decided to move towards changing the culture of the company that was a little bit conservative. All the decisions were being made by email communication. So that's, of course, that was a little bit slow overall. So they decided to move towards some interactivity and also involvement. So what they did is that they bought a big screen, put it on the first floor of their office building, and on that screen every day they are broadcasting, for example, birthdays of workers or any other good things to celebrate that they can share with everyone who is crossing by the screen. So it's interesting because I have noticed people start looking at the screen. They even sometimes stand there and discuss some work-related things, looking at the screen. And I think this is some very good step for the client to become more digitalized and maybe closer to employees finally, right? So yeah, I think AI sounds actually as some of our next episode topics. How do you think, Jiren?
Yeah, I think
AI.
digitalization and AI, yeah, definitely is that we can talk about it. Yeah, we need to talk about it further.
Yeah, but overall, if we are talking about some topics for the next episode, what is the most important thing or success factor for any change, Jiren?
So you ask it to any change manager and then they will answer you. Sponsorship support is the key. If you don't have a sponsor that is supporting you, then you will fail. Definitely 100%.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah, I
have
think the
had.
next episode should be sponsorship support.
Yeah, so then sponsorship support it is, dear colleagues, and I think this is all that we would like to share together with Jiren. Jiren, thank you for this productive discussion. It
Thank
was
you.
fun as usual and very applicable to our practice, and I think our listeners will find it very useful.
Yeah.
So, dear colleagues, our next episode we will be dedicated to sponsorship support and how to provide that for an effective company transformation and change management. So, with this, Jiren, I would like to thank you and also thank each of our listeners.
Yeah, thank you all. And thank you, Julia. It was a fun session. Let's do it again.
Yeah,
In a
see you
shorter.
soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bye bye. Have a good
Bye bye.
day, everyone.